Hello and welcome to Basic Song Service Drums, lesson number 2. Let's go. Okay, so here we go. Drum lesson number 2. Short and sweet. I just want to get to showing you guys some basic drum patterns. Go over how my diagram system works in regards to the PDF printouts. Just hoping to give you guys some clarity and just expand the types of beats you guys can play, mainly for fast songs. So for starters, let's talk about the diagram layout. So what you'll see in my diagrams is you'll see kind of like a cell format. What you'll see is you have your 4 count up on top. That just represents every beat, you know, in time, of course. So depending on the speed that you're going to be playing at, that would be adjusted. But that is your 4 count. Underneath it, you'll see letter values. Well, those letter values represent each of the 3 pieces, the main pieces of the drums that you'll be playing when you're playing these beats. So the H stands for hi-hat, the S stands for snare, the B stands for your bass drum. So what you'll recognize is for the couple of patterns in my first PDF, my first lesson PDF, is the hi-hat is shown as being played under every single number. So your hi-hat is just 1 through 4. And then you'll also see in the first diagram for the first lesson that your bass drum, the B, is only shown on number 1, and the S for the snare drum is only shown on number 3. So that's basically how it works. Just keep in mind that 4 count is going to drive everything. Now, for starters, that 4 count, everything can fit inside one 4 count, inside one measure. But as we go along, more complex beats won't necessarily all fit into one measure. It might fit into 2 or more measures. So just to give you guys a heads up, you know, don't freak out when you see, oh wait, it changed, you know. Eventually the beat will cycle through, but again, sometimes it stretches beyond just one measure of time, all right? And that's going to be the case for some of the beats I'm going to show you today, all right? So now that you understand hopefully a little more how the diagrams work, now I want to show you some fast beat drum patterns, all right? So what I've done is I've just done some basic research, listening to songs, not only in our own in my own church here in Santa Fe, but I've also looked at, you know, Prescott's live stream. One of the nice advantages of this coronavirus pandemic and all the live streams that are being posted is that I can observe some of the other song services and what their songs sound like, and it helps give an idea of the common types of patterns that a lot of drummers play, or a lot of common songs that our churches sing, and the patterns that tie to those songs. So I've basically consolidated down to about 3 main beats. Of course, every church is different. I understand that. The way we play a certain song here, you might play different in your church, and that's totally fine. But like I said, I just tried to get just kind of a wide range of songs and just find the common beats that tie to those songs, all right? So, you know, take that for what it is. If you need to adjust, you know, if you have more questions, of course, you can reach out to me, all right? But let's get started with beat number 1. The first beat I want to show you, it's going to tie to a 4 count pattern, of course. Now, this ties very well with songs like God is Greater, King of Kings, Can't Stop Praising His Name, Burning Me, just a handful of like those types of songs. The pattern is, we're going to stick to the 4 count pattern. Now it's going to be a little different from the first basic 4 count pattern that I taught you, in that it's going to be a little bit more busy, all right? So you're going to start with your hi-hat on all 4 beats, except this time your bass drum is going to be on 1 and 3. Your snare drum is going to be on 2 and 4, all right? So bass drum's odd numbers, snare drum is even numbers, okay? I'll start off real slow, give you an idea of what it sounds like, and then we'll add a little more to it as we go along, all right? So here's how it sounds. You know, start off really slow. Eventually, the tempo for a lot of songs that tie to this pattern will get upwards, you know, get to upwards of, I believe, 160, 165 beats per minute. So it can move, you know, pretty quickly. But like I said, start off slow, use your metronome, and build up to that tempo, all right? Sometimes you can trip up and you'll forget to play your hi-hat at a consistent 4-count pattern, and you'll be focused down here. That's why I say start slow, make sure everything is being played when it's supposed to be played, all right? So then, once you get that part down, I'll give you an example of how it'll sound a little bit faster, okay? All right, so that's, you know, almost, you know, in some cases that might be full speed, or almost full speed, all right? A little bit faster. It's still pretty manageable. All right, so now let's add a little bit more to the beat, all right? You're used to now, hopefully, your bass drum on your odd numbers, your snare drum on your even numbers. But now we're gonna spice it up a little bit, all right? And all we're gonna do is we're gonna add an extra hit to our bass drum, all right? Instead of your bass drum on 1 and 3 alone, now we're gonna add an and between each of our numbers. So it's gonna sound like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, all right? So now your bass drum's gonna be played on 1, on 3, and also on 3 and, that in between your 3 and 4, all right? So it should sound something like this. Start slow, and then we'll play it a little bit faster. All right, so again, practice that a few times over. Once you get it really locked in, push it up, you know, slowly. You don't have to go from slow to full speed. Go in increments, all right? Start at, you know, really slow tempo, you know, 60 beats, 70, 80 beats per minute, and maybe increase it by 10 beats per minute after you get comfortable with that previous setting, of course, on your metronome. So then, once you're really comfortable, try to push it to a full speed, 150, 160, and it should sound somewhere, something like this when you're at a faster tempo. So there you go. It might scare you because you feel like your right foot on the bass pedal is going to have to tap pretty quickly. But you can see in the other shot that I kind of just tap it with my toe. My heel kind of comes up. Some people stay with the heel down. You know, once you get really comfortable developing that muscle memory, of course, that's not too difficult. You can pull it off. So it's just practicing through it and getting to that point. All right. So that's the first beat. Let's move on to the second beat. So this pattern ties really well to songs like Freedom, Unchanging, kind of, you know, I really enjoy this pattern. I call them fun songs, just because they're kind of more chill in a way, but still very energetic in how the songs feel. So basically how the pattern works is what's going to make this kind of complex is you're actually going to add a little bit more with your snare hand or your left hand. So what you're gonna do, your hi-hat's going to stay on 1 through 4. Your bass drum is going to be played on 1 for the first measure and on 4, all right? 1 and 4. The second measure is gonna be played on 2. Now where the snare hand comes in is where it gets a little bit tricky, all right? What you're gonna do is you're going to play in between your 2 hits. This is another and example, all right? So you're gonna play on 2 and then on the next measure, you're gonna play right on 3, like we learned in the very beginning, all right? So it'll sound something like this. All right, so hope that's pretty clear. Keep in mind your snare's on 2 and for the first measure, and then the next measure it's on 3. Your bass drum is on 1 and 4 for the first measure, and then the next measure it's going to be on 2. All right? Start slow, speed it up. When it gets to a faster tempo or full speed, it should sound something like this. There's the second beat, and the last beat I want to show you is for a lot of our older songs, if you will, songs like At the Cross, He Set Me Free, Alive Alive, There Is Power, songs like that. I call them 1-2 beats because it's a very simple pattern. What makes this tricky is that simple pattern repeated at a faster tempo can get really tricky in the muscle memory area. So this is how it works out. Start slow, of course, and then increase your tempo. But the pattern is as follows. Your hi-hat's going to be on 1 and 2. Technically, it is a 4 count, but it's such a simple idea. I'll just narrow it down to 1 and 2, all right? Your hi-hat's going to be played on 1 and 2. Your bass drum's going to be on 1. Your snare drum's going to be on 2. And that's it. Just repeat that over and over again. Start slow, build it up. So I'll play it slow for you first, all right? That's it at a slow tempo. Now be careful because as you speed it up, this is one of those things, like I said, can get really tricky with muscle memory because you're constantly alternating your foot and your snare drum and your hi-hat, maintaining that timing. It's easy to trip up and stumble or miss a beat or double hit, hit your bass drum and your snare at the same time. So just be aware of that. That's why I say start slow, because you'll be able to work through those things. And then just in small increments, you can build up that tempo, increase your beats per measure to a faster tempo. I'm not sure what the beats per measure is, but I'll give you a demonstration of pretty much a full speed for this song, give or take, all right? This is how it should sound, almost full tempo. All right, so there you go. 3 beats, that should really just give you a launching pad for being able to play a wide variety of songs. So, of course, there are tons of styles of music out there, and music is always changing, so it's not like we can fit all of our songs into the mold of these 3 beats. Like I said, these are just the 3 main beats that we play for a majority of our fast songs. So take these 3 beats, practice them like crazy. You have 3 weeks until the next video, so hopefully you'll be, really good at playing these 3 patterns, and we can move on from there. So you might be wondering about slow songs. Slow songs are really nice for beginners because everything slows down. So what you can do is go back to my first lesson and pretty much implement those basic patterns into your drum playing, all right? So for starters, you can just do a basic 4 count. Your bass is on 1, your snare is on 3, your hi-hat is all 4 beats, and just repeat that for your whole song, all right? If you want to add a little bit more to it, then what you can do is you can stretch it over 2 measures, a 2-measure pattern. And how that is played is same as before, or the same first measure. Your bass is on 1, your snare is on 3, and then the next time around, your bass drum can be on 1 and 2, and your snare is on 3. Play it nice and slow. This is how it'll sound. All right, so that should cover, good 95% of slow songs, I would say. Some songs have a different time signature, and of course the tempo could change, so you adjust accordingly. But there you go. I've given you a handful of patterns to play. Get those ones locked in, because the next video I'll start to expand into using more of the drum set to be able to tie to the music. So there are different parts of a song, and I want to help you in being able to transition how you're playing the drums to match those changes in the music, all right? But there you go, 3 patterns plus a slow song pattern. Go and practice them. If you have any questions, of course, you're welcome to leave a comment in the comment section below. You can also shoot me an email, WorldCFMMusic@gmail.com. And again, this PDF will be available. That'll give the diagrams for all 3 of the fast beat patterns. I'll even post a couple slow beat patterns just, for practice purposes. But that is on the website at WorldCFMMusic.com. And feel free to subscribe and like this video. I appreciate those of you who are sharing it with other people throughout our fellowship, just trying to help churches build their song service. And you can even take this a lot further than just song service, of course, start a band or whatever. But maybe we'll visit that down the road. For now, let's just zero in on getting these beats locked in. And that's all for this video. We'll see you on the next video.